History isn't always written by the victors, sometimes it's carved by the will of a single, unstoppable individual. These aren't tales of armies, but of men who stood alone, men whose names became legends whispered in fear and awe. They walked through fire, stared down death, and haunted the shadows of America's bloodiest conflicts. Their actions, brutal, uncompromising, shaped the nation in ways we still feel today. Now we go deeper into the stories of 5 men who weren't just dangerous, they were walking nightmares. What makes a man truly dangerous? Skill, courage, or an unbreakable conviction that their way is the only way, no matter the cost? This is part 2 of the most dangerous men in American history. Audie Murphy was the most decorated U.S. soldier in World War II, barely 5'5", but a giant on the battlefield. He grew up in Texas poverty, dropped out of school, and hunted to feed his family. Hardship didn't break him, it forged him. Rejected by the Marines and Navy for being too small, the Army finally took a chance. They had no idea what they'd unleashed. In Europe, Murphy's instinct for combat stunned his superiors and terrified his enemies. He fought with a quiet, simmering rage. At the Colmar Pocket in France, January 1945, his legend was born. His unit was down to 19 men, facing a massive German assault. Murphy ordered his men to safety, then stayed behind, alone, to cover their retreat. As a burning tank destroyer exploded nearby, Murphy climbed atop it, seized the .50 caliber machine gun, and unleashed hell. For over an hour, wounded and alone, he held off hundreds of Germans, calling in artillery strikes while firing. When he ran out of ammo, he limped back, organized a counterattack, and drove the enemy off. For this, he earned the Medal of Honor. But that was just one of 33 medals. He was a hero by every measure. After the war, Hollywood made him a star. He played himself in To Hell and Back, but the silver screen couldn't hide his scars. Murphy suffered from what we now call PTSD, nightmares, insomnia, a pistol under his pillow. He became one of the first public figures to speak out for veterans' mental health, knowing some battles are fought within. Audie Murphy's danger wasn't just his skill or bravery, it was his refusal to be broken. He stared into the abyss of poverty, loss, and war, and the abyss blinked first. He channeled pain into a lethal energy that saved lives and made him a legend. The small-town boy became a giant of American military history. In Vietnam, his name was whispered like a ghost story. Carlos Hathcock, the Marine sniper with 93 confirmed kills and likely many more. He crawled over 1,500 yards through enemy territory for days, took out a high-value target, and vanished. The North Vietnamese put a $30,000 bounty on him, never collected. They called him the White Feather for the feather in his hat, a taunt to the enemy. Come and find me. Hathcock was more than a sniper, he was a phantom, a master of patience and camouflage who became one with the jungle. His most famous mission, crawling for 4 days to eliminate a general, then disappearing without a trace. Another legend, his duel with the enemy sniper known as the Cobra. After days of stalking, Hathcock spotted a glint, an enemy scope. He fired, sending a bullet through the scope and into the Cobra's eye. His official count was 93, but his commander estimated the real number was 300 to 400. He didn't kill for glory, he did it to save American lives. His service ended not by enemy fire, but by heroism, pulling 7 Marines from a burning vehicle after a mine explosion, suffering severe burns. After the war, he founded the Marine Corps Sniper School, teaching that a sniper's greatest weapon is his mind. Hathcock's danger was his mastery of environment and self. He could wait, invisible, for days, controlling his heart rate and ignoring pain. To the NVA, he was a supernatural threat. To the Marines, a guardian angel with a scope. The White Feather's legend still haunts the history of modern warfare. Technically British, but legendary to American troops, Mad Jack Churchill fought World War II his way. With a longbow, a broadsword, and bagpipes. He charged machine gun nests, led night raids with medieval weapons, and once captured 42 Germans with just a sword. Jack Churchill was an anachronism, a medieval warrior in a modern war. While others carried pistols, he carried a Scottish broadsword, believing any officer without one was improperly dressed. His first combat battle of France, 1940, he signaled an ambush by firing a longbow, recording the last such kill in a major war. During Dunkirk, he played bagpipes and picked off Germans with arrows, boosting morale as chaos reigned. Volunteering for the commandos, he led raids with bagpipes blaring, sword drawn, stunning German defenders. His most famous feat, infiltrating a German post in Italy, leaping in with his sword and capturing 42 prisoners with just one other man. Captured twice, he escaped both times, once walking 150 miles to freedom. When the war ended, he was disappointed. He loved the thrill of combat. Afterward, he surfed rivers, rode motorcycles, and sought adventure wherever he could. Mad Jack was dangerous because he was unpredictable, fighting by an older primal code. His weapons were psychological as much as physical, sowing confusion and fear. He was a true original, a warrior poet in a world of machines. He was the deadliest lawman in the Wild West, Wyatt Earp, gambler, gunslinger, and survivor of the OK Corral. Earp didn't just fight crime, he hunted vengeance. When his brother was killed, he launched a private war across the desert. The name Wyatt Earp is synonymous with the Old West, but the real man was more ruthless and complex than legend suggests. Lawman, gambler, bouncer, he understood the criminal world because he lived in it. His legend was forged in Tombstone, Arizona, where tension between lawmen and outlaws exploded at the OK Corral. The gunfight lasted 30 seconds, 3 cowboys dead, 2 Earp brothers wounded. The violence only escalated. When his brothers were ambushed, Earp became judge, jury, and executioner. The law had failed him, so he became the law. He assembled a posse and set out on the vendetta ride, hunting down those responsible one by one. Earp became a wanted man, always one step ahead of the law. He operated outside the boundaries he once swore to uphold. Driven by grief and rage, he was icy calm in a fight, his reputation as deadly as his gun. After the vendetta ride, Earp drifted, outliving friends and enemies alike, dying peacefully at 80. He spent his later years shaping his own legend, understanding the power of myth. Wyatt Earp wasn't just a lawman, he was the architect of his own fearsome legacy. America's top general in World War I, John J. Blackjack Pershing, earned his name in blood long before Europe. In the Philippines, he led ruthless campaigns against Moro rebels using both diplomacy and overwhelming force. The infamous pig's blood story is debated, but the myth alone terrified his enemies. Pershing's nickname came from his command of the Buffalo Soldiers. He wore it as a badge of honor. He fought Apaches, Sioux, and Spaniards, but the Moro rebellion cemented his reputation for severity. Personal tragedy hardened him. A fire claimed his wife and 3 daughters, leaving him emotionally walled off and focused on duty. When America entered World War I, Pershing was chosen to build and lead the American Expeditionary Forces. The U.S. Army was unprepared. Pershing had to build a modern force from scratch and get it across the Atlantic. In Europe, he refused to let American troops be used as replacements by the British and French, insisting they fight as an independent army. This angered the Allies, but Pershing knew American morale depended on it. He drilled his men relentlessly, demanding marksmanship and open warfare tactics. When the AEF finally fought in the Meuse-Argonne offensive, they helped break the stalemate and force Germany to seek peace. Pershing's danger was his unshakable will. He bent presidents, generals, and armies to his vision. He was the iron-willed architect of America's first great military victory on the world stage. From sniper ghosts in Vietnam to desert duels in the West, these men defined danger. Some were heroes, some killers, often both. Their stories are complex, messy, and deeply human. They remind us that history is shaped by those willing to go to extremes, to embrace the darkness society fears. Their legacies are as varied as the men themselves: a Medal of Honor hero, a phantom sniper, a medieval throwback, an avenging lawman, and an iron general. Their shadows stretch long across history, proof of the power of a single dangerous individual. Which one chilled you the most? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more true American history.